So let's just pick up with injuries to the integument and wound repair, which we've looked at the processes several times now. A shallow, narrow cut in the dermis, the epithelial margins can grow in well. If it's a deeper, wider cut through the dermis and then the subcutaneous layer, then we're going to have more pathology and then more action. So this is where we have the vessels breaking, the blood clots forming. We have the fibroblasts moving towards the place to form the new framework. We get our scab and slough and scar. So we get some byproduct here, if you will. So let's look at a wider, deeper wound and see how stitches are used to approximate it, right? So this has a very irregular border, but what you can do is use the sewing up of the wound to get it to get closer to what I want to say is that by approximating the wound edges, the repair goes more smoothly. Okay, so what does granulating tissue look like? This is just another nice image of that healthy granulation tissue as it's building. And I'm going to share that image with you. So this is superficial, which means that even though these edges are wide apart, right, this isn't something that would require stitching to bring the ends closer together, right? So you don't need to push or squeeze the cells below back together to get this to heal properly. This is a granulating ulcer. So here again, you can just see that tissue as it's growing, and the same thing. This is appearing to be deeper, and you're not going to use anything to approximate the edges, but you're going to really try to allow that time and space to heal, and use probably some topical medications as well. What about abnormal scar tissue? So things that can happen is that there can be keloid scarring, where you have scarring outside the borders of the injury site. So it grows around. This looks like it's a burn with keloid scarring. So wherever the burn site was, this is going to be, it's raised, but it's also outside of the original onsalt. Here you can see it as well. So these are typical keloid scars. Piercings can cause them, but it can be a laceration. It can be a surgical insertion. It can lead to keloid scarring as well, and some people are more likely to get it than others. Here's a list. So burns, even acne, chickenpox. We saw the ear piercing. Scratches can lead to it. There's been keloid scarring at vaccination sites as well. A hypertrophic scar is a raised scar, but it's not around the border or boundaries of the original wound. So let's say you had like a straight line laceration. You could have hypertrophic scarring where it's raised, but it wasn't keloid scarring because it follows the line of the laceration. Aging of the integument. So yeah, so as we get older, everything seems to just slow down. The processes slow down, the amount of energy used all around the body slows down. I'm thinking of like metabolic functioning. So whatever you're producing, you produce less of it. Your mitotic division happens less quickly, and cell turnover happens less quickly. So the same is true of the skin. And with that, we lose the integrity of the skin, we lose elasticity, and all sorts of things. So aging skin, we get it becomes thin, dry, and itchy, and that's due to a decrease in the sebaceous gland activity. The fat and the elasticity decrease, leading to cold intolerance. So you have less adipose tissue in the integument, and that will also change the way you interact with the environment around you. And what about the dermal mat? So this would be the ultraviolet again. So we go back to sun exposure, activating enzymes, and they are going to degrade collagen. So over time, right, the integrity of the integument just continues to degrade. And it's just another reason why you can stay away from UV exposure. We have a decreased number of melanocytes. So again, it's decreased mitotic division, decreased production, and the dendritic cells as well, which both will lead to an increased risk of skin cancer as you age. Right, so when we saw that age spot in the previous slide, it's that the melanocytes are just kind of pooling together in the same location, as opposed to widely dispersed or evenly dispersed as they were when you were younger. Aging, this is aging integument here, but the hair also thins. Again, there's a decrease in cellular production. So if we go back to the memory of the hair follicle and then hair bubbles, you know, like creating the grayness, there's less integrity there as well. The keratin, you're producing less keratin, so you have a thinner, less durable hair. Yeah, so keep eating well, keep drinking well, keep taking good care of your body, and you can, on some level, you can combat aging. On another level, it's programmed biological processes, programmed cell death. It's important for the lifespan of the system that your biosuit is going to have the whole, you know, from in utero, prenatally, this embryonic development, right? It has and you go through the growth lifespan, and then when it starts to turn, you degenerate and allow for space on the planet for the other humans to occupy. So it's again, it can be delayed, and mentally it can be delayed even longer. So stay positive and stay young. Okay, pausing here.